Hey everyone, and welcome to Recharge the Podcast. I'm David Coe. My guest today is a global sensation known for his powerful drives and winning major titles like the Scottish Open. He's one of the most exciting young talents on the fairways and a social media star. He's a true ambassador for the modern game of golf. He's a friend, and I'm so excited to have him on the show. So let's recharge and cook with Minwoo Lee. Well, Minwoo Lee, welcome to Recharge, and thanks for joining us here today.
Of course, thanks for having me. I haven't done something like this in a long time, so excited.
Well, listen, I am so excited to get into this with you today. But before we start, I wrote this book and it's called Recharge. And the whole idea was about thinking about your mental health like a phone battery, a battery essentially.
hmm
And so, because our brains need to rest and recharge like everything else in life. So, for before we start, I'm just going to ask you, how's your battery and why?
I just had two tournaments, so I'm a little wanting to recharge. Um, but yeah, no, it's been good. The last 2 weeks, actually, the last few months golf-wise haven't been like amazing. So the last 2 weeks have been a very good, I guess, a positive direction and where I would like to be in my golf game. Just had a couple weeks of you know improving my golf swing with my coach back home in Australia in Perth, and it was uncomfortable, but it needed to happen. So um, it was mentally draining, but very rewarding at the same time. So right now I'm feeling pretty good.
Love it.
Maybe a little jet lagged, but I'm good.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And look, I am a golf fanatic. I love playing golf. Love here having the time to spend with you. But for many people and some of our listeners, they're not as familiar with golf. And so, how do you explain what you do?
Ah, well, lots of traveling, and I just hit a golf ball at pretty nice places. So yeah, we get to play in a lot of different cities, and probably you would say top three golf courses in the city every week we play. So uh, it's it's like it's challenging, but it's also very rewarding. We always wanted to do it. I always wanted to do it as a little kid. Um, Kind of got introduced to the travel side. You just want to play golf, but as a kid, you didn't realize, you have to travel. I'm living in Vegas now, and I'm from Perth, like the most
Wow.
isolated place in the world. So it comes at you pretty quick. But no, it's I wouldn't have changed anything, and it's great. I got great friends and family that I kind of meet on the way, and I think that's the big key to traveling. It gets lonely out there sometimes. So, to have a good partner and to
Absolutely.
have good friends, I mean, that's pretty much why you do it as well. And yeah, just to have that good company, it's a big asset to traveling
Yeah.
and being away from home.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go all into traveling and hearing how you do things. But what's been really interesting when folks have been able to follow your career is that in a short amount of time, you've not only won tournaments, you've been successful from junior golf to professional golf, but you've also really developed and curated your internet and kind of like your social media presence as well. And there's this phrase that's come out that so many of us are familiar with around let him cook.
Yeah.
And you even have a golf ball you gave me personally that had that logo on there, which I love and I have it. I keep it. I think it's so cool. And it's become so popular. So let me ask you, where did that come from and how did it come about?
It's blown up over the last couple of years. I was I always liked social media as a kid. I kind of grew up in this era of social media. I it started, when I was young, and I got used to it very quickly, and I loved it. Loved it, center of attention, and still do. So the Let Him Cook just started from social media. I think one of my fans just said it, and then I just started saying in my posts, and it just kicked off from there.
Oh, so good.
Probably set it for like about 6 months, and then yeah, you know, the ball that I gave you has a chef logo on it, and
Yeah.
people started wearing the chef hat, a chef's hat, you know, during tournament and watching me. This was down in Australia, so you know, it's very nice to go back to where, you know, something started, and yeah, it's been awesome. I think I just love playing golf, but I also love, you know, just giving something back. I always thought golfers are kind of boring. You know, golf is just, you see the old school golfers, they just play golf, and then you know, that's it. But as I said, I grew up in the social media stage, so I kind of wanted to take advantage of, you know, showing my presence while also playing good golf. So it's a good combo, you know. I think, yeah, the last couple of years it's just blown up. I've got over, you know, 500,000 followers just from the last 2 years. So I think it's just how powerful social media is. You know, you just just be genuine, and yeah, hopefully I can play good golf.
I think that's so good. Let's go through and switch topics around just the mental game of golf. And, you know, for many folks who play it today, you just realize, and you can see it on TV as well, that it's often described as a really tough and brutal mental game. And can you just like take us inside what goes on in your own head when you're in these high pressure moments, crucial putts, chips, or whatever you have to do? How do you get through the game from a mental health, from a mental standpoint?
It's a learning curve, huge learning curve. You know, I still get nervous. You know, I just played the French Open and I was in the final group, and I was still, I've been there plenty of times, but you still get nervous.
Wow.
And it's just one of those things where sometimes you just feel amazing and sometimes you feel um, average. And, you know, it's just, I guess I tell myself, you know, it is a privilege to be in that situation. You know,
Sure.
the last few months I haven't been anywhere near the top of the leaderboard, so to be in there, you know, the last 2 weeks, it's awesome. You kind of, you obviously practice to get into those situations. uh Obviously a lot of breathing. You know, I do a lot of meditation, kind of guided meditation before I sleep, and then, you know, just fall asleep. But you know, just the breathing aspect. There's a lot of, you know, gadgets out there. I wear the Whoop, so it you know, that's a big part of it. Doing breath work, you know, to get that HRV higher, and to have
Sure.
good recovery and good sleep. So there's always a lot of the one percenters that you need to do as an athlete, as a golfer, you know, to be the best. But mental golf is a lot mental. I think physically, a lot of people can hit the ball, and a lot of people can um, do the technical side pretty good. But golf, if you want to be at the high level, it's very you got to be strong between the ears, and you know, a lot of people say it's 90% mental and 10% technique. So um,
Wow.
it is a huge part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear that you still get nervous.
Mhm.
You know, when I see you and you have such confidence and you look like you're having so much fun out
Yeah.
there as well. And when you were kind of saying you're in the final group at the French and you're nervous, that I'll be frank with you, that's kind of surprising to me because I've just seen you in these moments with such confidence, hitting that ball, and it always looks like it's going in, unlike the average golfer where it's not going to go in. So you still really do get nervous on there.
Yeah, of course. I think that's good. I think
Mhm.
I'm definitely getting a lot more comfortable, you know, technique wise. Um, Slowly getting a lot better. I'm getting stronger, so I can, you know, rely on uh the technique side has to be at some point where it has to be sustaining in those high pressure moments. You know, there was times where
Sure.
you go backwards because your hips are firing too fast, you know, and
Mm,
that was, you know, one of my problems. So I'm just trying to get stronger, gaining pounds, and, you know, using my body better. And obviously, injury prevention is massive in golf,
sure.
especially such a small kid like me. You know, I whacked the ball pretty far, and they there has been a point where my body has been getting hurt just because I've been trying to hit it so hard. So
Wow.
yeah, it's all part of it. It's definitely an asset, but uh, playing golf or playing sport for a long time is needed too.
In golf and many other sports, they always talk about at the highest levels, folks that have superstitions. You might be a little superstitious and you might have these routines, right? Is there something that you do right before a round that really just helps you get in that right mental health, and right mental state of mind before the round?
I usually say no. I don't have superstitions. I don't need to have a certain way, but when you get to the highest level, it's just, I guess it's all routine. There are superstitions where, hey, I ate this for dinner and I
Yeah.
shot six under, so why
Yeah.
wouldn't I go back there? So there are times where that, I don't know if that's superstition, I guess it is, but a lot of routine. You do the same routine the whole time. I have like a template of what I do every day. I putt for this long, I chip for this long before the round, and yeah, just try to keep it as similar. Obviously, those things change sometimes if you want change, but I think if you find something, you just stick to it. You just keep doing the routine stuff, and yeah, don't get too ahead of yourself, and you just want to keep doing what you can control.
That's cool. So take us behind kind of the curtain a little bit. So, we all have this visualization that tour life is just so glamorous. You see the Netflix specials,
Yeah.
you see things on the Golf Channel, and it just looks like, a really glamorous lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, but is it, or is it a grind? Just kind of walk us through that a little bit.
It is a grind, but that's just sports, I think, and any profession really. But I try to make it as fun as I can. That's why I have the social media. That's why, I play video games. I have good friends that I can, go out to dinner with. And it can be very, I guess, lonely, and it can be
Hmm.
tiring, but I think you just got to see the good side of it. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of great things about golf and traveling, and um it is tough, but I you gotta look at the glass half full.
That's right. And listen, you're a long way away from home, like you said. How many weeks of the year are you traveling for competition, and are you away from basically your home base?
I live in Vegas now, but usually uh going back to Australia and seeing family and friends, I would probably go once or twice a year. Usually it's once, but this
Wow,
year will be twice. I just went there for about 3 weeks, and then I'm going to go at the end of the year. So
nice.
not much seeing family and friends. But we work around it. My best friend Zach, I bring him over, just so I have a slice of Australia, and a friend and good friend over in Vegas, and obviously he's loving it here, and I get to hang out with my best friend. So uh, it's yeah, not much time in Vegas. I've probably been home 2 months of this year, maybe a little bit more, 2.5 months. So,
Wow,
and
it's not a
then
lot of time.
you're on the road maybe 30 weeks of the year, maybe even more. So, uh, yeah, it's a
Wow.
long season. Golf is, you follow the summer, which you go play in America, then you go play in Europe, and then Australia at the end of the year. So, you can definitely take more time off, but um you know, I I like playing golf, and taking a lot of time off is good, but also, you still want to stay fresh and play golf.
It was really interesting that you mentioned your friend Zach and how he's your best friend. We often talk about at work to be happy sometimes you just need that like one best friend at work. Do you find that a lot of tour players have like a best friend or someone that they travel with because you're traveling for so long out of the year?
Yes and no. This was like the first couple years I did it. One, financially, it's not a cheap flight. It's not a cheap flight coming from Australia. So, yeah, obviously there's a balance. I have I guess a little bit of freedom now, that financial freedom, that I could do that, and we obviously want to play great golf, but we also want to be happy. And that's a big key around the team, around my team. That's a big motto. So yeah, if you're good off the course, you tend to play good on the course. So yeah, just to have a friend over and just yeah, it's great time. So he hasn't been to Vegas before, so he can explore over here, and then yeah, just having a bit of home is very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. There's always this classic golf question that always gets asked, and I see this on a lot of TV, which is like, what's in the bag? Like what's in your golf bag? And so, meaning for clubs and things. But for you, let me ask you, what what is what do you carry that's not golf clubs in your bag? So what else is in your bag? So if I were to open up your bag and it can be non-golf clubs, what do you carry around in that golf bag of yours? Because it's pretty big.
It
Fit like
is.
a house in there. What's in that bag of yours?
Right now, other than golf clubs, the weirdest thing you'd probably see me have is like a pre-warm up range warm up is I have a belt with bands coming out of it, just to activate some muscles. When you look at it, it's like, yeah, that shouldn't be there, but it's something that my team and I have been doing, over the last year or two. Put my, just trying to activate muscles before I go hit balls. And then, I mean, there's obviously food. Nutrition's a big part. You're on the golf course for 5 hours at least. So you wanna have your carbs and protein. So nothing weird though. You just have the standard golf balls and markers and um, yeah, that's about it.
Well, to the outside world, there looks like there's just a lot of stuff in the
Yeah.
bag. So it's actually not as much as we might think. Hey, we started the conversation. We talked a little bit about your presence, obviously, on social media, and you've talked about that. We actually interviewed in season one of Recharge Jordan Childs, and she's an Olympian, and she talked about how she disconnects and can sometimes get away from social media as well. Do you ever feel a need to unplug? I mean, because you are so active with it.
Yeah, a little bit. I have been, very lucky to have really good fans and a lot of support, which makes you want to stay on there. But, over the last couple years, as the fame has gone a bit stronger, you get a couple messages that put you down, and obviously you don't try to let it affect you, but you still see them sometimes, and sometimes they're right. Sometimes maybe I am on social media too much and I'm not practicing, but
Hmm.
but there's a lot of time between practicing and having time off. So um, there's there's definitely moments where you go, hey, like um, you are on social media too much, and slow it down a notch. Let's go read a book. Let's go have a walk and touch grass,
I like
outside of
that.
golf. So yeah, social media can be cruel sometimes, but I've got the very lucky side of it. Um, and yeah, there's times when you have to stop and slow down, but I've had a lot of fun with my fan base, and that's why I'm on it so much.
Yeah, wise words there. I wanted to ask you, when golf, not every putt goes in, not everything goes your way, as we were talking about earlier. Um, is there a way or that you try to reset at times? So, it seems like there are times where every putt is going in and you can't miss. And then there seems to be times where you do have to work on it because nothing seems to be going in, although for you, probably more is going in than not. But when you do miss occasionally or if for an extended period, are the things that you try to do mentally that try to reset or different habits you try to do?
Yeah, it's a learning curve. I think everyone's been a victim if they've played golf, um, gotten into the emotional side of it too much. Sometimes it doesn't go in because, you know, stuff happens, right? Like
Well, you
it's
want
not
it so much.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
This can be anything, not golf, but like you got to you realize that, it can't be perfect. And I think if you are if you can forget very quickly, you can be a very good golfer. Obviously, you got to learn if you don't do it properly, or you put a bad stroke on the part, or technically, or something like that. You learn from it. But there are times where, hey, you hit this good, you did the right thing, and it didn't go your way. So it's it's a learning curve for sure. As you know, a lot of athletes, but I think the best in the world, they forget really quickly, because we all know that we
That's
can do the
wise.
right thing, but how does it let it affect you? You can't let it
Hmm.
affect you because that's just I think that's just the great and the elite.
Hmm.
Just gotta learn to move on and keep going because you can do it. You practice hard enough to hole that 3 footer, but you know sometimes you miss the 3 footer and you're like, yeah, it just happens. So don't let it affect you and keep going because it happens.
Let me ask you, because you're always traveling, you're going in between, time zones, countries. How do you prioritize and manage your sleep when you're jumping across all these different time zones and countries?
It's not easy, but you know we learn as kids how to um, how to manage that, and I've been very blessed and very lucky that I could sleep anywhere.
Oh, come on.
I actually really like planes. I sleep quite often and for a long time. So long flights don't really matter too much to me, especially being from Australia, right? Like you have to learn to sleep or be occupied for that 12 hours or 13 hours of the two flights you have to take to go to Europe or to America. So, um, I mean, there's a few things, you know, I touched on breath work. So, that's something that I've been doing over the last few years. Um, and a travel pillow is a must, I think. I travel with a
Oh,
pillow everywhere.
okay.
And that's just because, again, it's like I guess it's a superstition or a routine. You just don't
Hmm,
want to have the potential to uh, wake up with a bad neck.
like that.
You know, you just don't want outside factors to affect. And, you know, the hotel pillows, everyone always complains, oh, the pillow's not that good, or the pillow's really good. So I just found something that I can, you know, can bring around, and the beds are usually pretty comfortable. Um, and yeah, I think the travel pillow is very big part of it.
I like that travel
Jet lag,
pillow. Okay.
exactly. Jet lag. I'm not a coffee drinker, but this is the
Huh,
probably the only time I'll have coffee just so I
huh.
can, you know, get through the hump of that afternoon period. So, you know, it's 11:30 now. I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning because of jet lag. I'll probably have a coffee just to tick me over a few more hours. And being from Australia, you know, I get scolded for not drinking coffee, but this would probably be the only time too. And it's good because I'm not used to the caffeine. So when I do have it, it does help. And yeah, there's not much to it, I don't think. Obviously, being active when you get to the next place, go to the gym, and you know, move around. You don't want to just be in the same bed or same spot the whole time. So.
I hear you on that. When you go into some of these tournaments and you're kind of at the end and you're in the final, do you ever feel that you can't sleep because of all that adrenaline?
Yes and no. I think somehow your body knows that it has to be ready for this type of pressure, and you know, but we just try to we don't try to think about it too much. I think golf is very process orientated. If you can do the processes right, you can become a really good golfer. I still do this, but there's a lot of times where you think ahead, way too ahead, and you just got to look one step at a time, one shot at a time. And I know it's very cliche, but if you can handle what you can control, I think that's a massive part of being successful. Um, if you want to be a great golfer and for a long time, I think you have to um, have to learn your craft and
Hmm.
keep doing it, keep doing the boring stuff. That's the main thing that me being the annoying brother, the competitive person, the I couldn't do the boring stuff. I couldn't do the boring stuff. Lately I have been doing it because I know I have to work hard and do quality time of practicing, but before then I was just not like that. So to do the boring stuff, I think is needed to
Yeah.
to do it under pressure.
You got to be able to do it under pressure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so true. I have a question for you in terms of legacy, and you're so early into this, right? And which is, and obviously as you now kind of project forward, and you've had this long career here, both as a golfer and personality in the sport, and we can all we know that you're going to be continue to have success going forward. What do you want your legacy to be in the sport?
yeah. I would love to be a great golfer. Obviously, I want to be in the Hall of Fame, world number one. But at the same time, that would be great. But I've always been kind of like a people's person. I think that's why I do social media too. I want to put smiles on people's faces and make it a little bit of a brighter place. So, um, playing good golf is great, but just putting a positive influence in the world and, teaching kids and, um, influencing the younger generation. Um, I think that's a big part of why I do this. If I don't play good golf, I still want to do that side of it. And I have my supporters and fans that, golf can't be perfect all the time. So but you might as well keep making other people happy. So, um, and there's times when you're doing that too much and you need to play good golf. So, there's a good balance between the two, but doing both of them at the same time is great. But yeah, I would love to. I mean, I have been, but positive influence, but being a great golfer, they're two things that I've always wanted to do as a little kid.
You are absolutely a positive influence on and off the course. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
So before you wrap, and I could just keep going on and on here with you, and we haven't even talked about, the sand game yet. But what I wanted to do is we end every episode here and with asking just a final couple of questions
Yeah.
and a little bit of a speed round. And so,
Okay. All right.
what's something about you that may surprise people?
Uh, I am pretty genuine, so I everything you see on social media, that's pretty much me. I'm a bit of a jokester, and I like to see the bright things of sides. And I'm a jokester. I'm a jokester. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I like to have fun. I like to have fun.
That's a good one. And so you inspire so many people, both on social media and on the course. Who inspires you?
Oh wow, I think my family does. I want to play good golf for them, and I want to make them proud. And mom and dad work so hard. Since I was a little kid and still do, when I was at home, dad was cooking for me in the morning, doing my laundry. And, I didn't even know how to do my laundry since a few years ago, since I lived, and I'm 27, so that's how much help that I had, my family was such a big help for me and made my life very easy. And they work so hard to sacrifice. Golf is not a cheap sport, so to
Absolutely.
travel and to get new clubs and new toys to play golf. And um, yeah, just giving back to them and seeing a nice smile on their face because they're still hard on me, but I really appreciate no fluff around
Yeah.
it. And I think kind of as Asian parents, that's just a normal thing. But it's good. It's always good to make them feel good too. And they always support me, even though it doesn't sound like it, but I know I've got their full support. And yeah, there's it's coming around. I'm supporting them now too.
Very cool. Very cool. And finally, what is your favorite way to recharge?
Ah, favorite. I think it's got to go back to hanging out with friends.
Hmm.
The company. I think the company is a massive part. Uh, Golf is all about you, all about individual, and I like to know what's going on with my friends because we get so caught up in our jobs. And I mean, I don't like to call it a job. It's a um, great thing that I'm doing, and I wanted to do it as a little kid. So uh, getting to know what they're doing and how they're doing, and being a friend to them as much as
Hmm.
they support me. So yeah, being a sport that's so competitive, you forget a little bit about it. So. Going out to nice dinners, having great food. I think that's, traveling. That's the good times that you can get when things get a little hard, and the food's always going to be pretty good. So
That's great. Well, Minwoo, I got to tell you, this has just been incredibly insightful and just such a fun conversation. I got to thank you for really just being so open and honest with us today and just helping myself recharge as well. I love recharging by having conversations like this. And to all our listeners out there, Minwoo's insights on mental resilience, just, his confidence, his social media. If you want to find out what else is in his bag, please share this episode with a friend, a teammate, or anyone else on your on our mental health recharge journey here. So you can hit that recharge subscription and hit recharge subscribe. And finally, if you want to follow Minwoo on social media, just search up his name. And I got to tell you, you will not be disappointed. His weekly insights, daily insights, they're super. They're just kind of who he is. And you'll watch some great golf as well. And we'll catch you next time on Recharge. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Minwoo.